All right, folks, welcome back. The Rams just brought back Derion Kendrick. We're going to talk about why they did this, why they released him to begin with, and what this ultimately means moving forward. Before we do, be sure to like, subscribe, and comment. Also, be sure to follow me on all social media at JKBogan, including Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Kick, and Twitch. And let's get right into it. So, without further ado, the NFL had a collective bargaining agreement in 2020. It was revised, and in the revision, they created what is called the PPE. What is that? It's proven performance escalators. So what is the point of this? Well, in Article 7, Section 4 of the 2020 Collective Bargaining Agreement, it governs that the PPE establishes 3 levels of qualification. So what this is essentially the first level, level 1, is earned if a player participates in a certain percentage of teams' offensive or defensive snaps in 2 of his first 3 seasons, or averages that percentage of offense or defensive snaps over his entire first 3 years. For second round picks, the average is 60%. And that was the same in the 2011 CBA. For third and seventh round picks, it's 35%. And then you have level 2 PPE, which is earned if a player participates in at least 55% of a team's offensive or defensive snaps in all of his first 3 seasons. And the level 3 PPE, which is earned if a player is selected to a Pro Bowl on the original ballot, not as an alternate in any of his first 3 seasons. Players eligible for the PPE will receive their 4th year base salary escalate based on the restricted free agent RFA tenders for that season as followed. So here's the deal, okay? The level 1 PPE will raise the base salary to an amount of the original draft round restricted free agent tender. The level 2 PPE will receive a base salary to the amount of the above tender plus $250,000. And the level 3 PPE, which of course we're talking about the player that gets to the Pro Bowl and is really shown, the performance that is escalated, that base salary amounts to a second round restricted free agent tender. So for you to understand what we're talking about here, think of it like this. And the reason why I'm bringing it up, the collective bargaining agreement, the entire point of this is so a player isn't stuck. If they do a great job on their rookie deal, they're not just stuck at that amount until free agency, until the end of their rookie contract. No, the point of this is to reward good play, consistent play. If you're consistently on the field and you're playing X amount of percentage of snaps, you can still earn a pay raise in your last year. Keep in mind, this only applies to the 4th and final year of a rookie deal. The level 3, which a really good example of this is, guys with level 3 include guys like Kyron Williams, Tariq Woolen, Deron Bland, Nick Benito, and James Cook. Okay. But we're talking about Derion Kendrick today. So I want to bring this up and preface with that to kind of explain that the Rams had a plan here, and I don't hate it. Some people are going to hate the fact that they brought him back. Some people aren't going to like that they did this because it comes off as cheap. I think it's a smart move. So the point being is that proven performance escalators push pretty much anybody that is drafted. If they play X amount of percentage of snaps, they can still get a pay raise in year 4. That, believe it or not, was the case for Rams cornerback Derion Kendrick. As a matter of fact, a player who wasn't supposed to get paid all that much money, he was a 6th round pick, ended up finding his way into a level 1 PPE. So the base salary was the amount of an original round restricted free agent tender. And we've talked about tenders on the show before, and the way restricted free agency works. Good example is Alec Jackson was a restricted free agent. The Rams set him at, I believe, a 2nd round free agent tender, and that put him in the $5 to $6 million range. That is where you have Kyron Williams at this year. Notice how Kyron Williams is more expensive this year than he ever has been. He hasn't signed a deal. No, it's the PPE. So here's the point. Derion Kendrick acquired a PPE boost, an escalator in his contract that has been agreed by the entire NFL and the players union to essentially be that of a original draft round tender, like you're a restricted free agent. So the Rams, knowing they were going to owe over $3 million on the cap for Derion Kendrick, a player who, yes, while he did earn it by definition, at the same time he missed all of last year. So the Rams, knowing he missed all of last year and maybe he's not quite where they want him to be or whatever, decided they were going to take their chances, waive him with that PPE on that deal. And if nobody picked him up, then clearly they were going to re-sign him. And now they're going to re-sign him to a lesser contract. And it's probably just a one-year deal, but it's going to be less money. That makes sense for two reasons. One, Kendrick is coming off an injury. Two, Kendrick might not even make the roster. But also, it makes sense for another reason. See, this might seem unfair in a way. Like, technically, according to the collective bargaining agreement, also known as the CBA, he earned a performance escalator. He started 18 games for this team. So, to be fair, he did earn it. But the Rams could do this for anybody. The question is, though, if you were to do what you did with Derion Kendrick with Kyren Williams, would Kyren Williams be picked up? Absolutely. How about Quentin Lake? Absolutely. That is the point. Is it a little, tough love? Yeah. Like, again, he earned it. But at the same time, if you can get away with this and no one else is going to pick him up, why not consider it? Kobe Durant, by the way, is another one of those guys who is in the level 1 PPE, and they would never in their right mind cut him to save money on his deal because he'd get picked up. And a really good example of it is these guys. Cade Otton. Do you think the Bucs would cut him to save some money? No. Alontae Taylor of the Saints. Braxton Jones from the Bears. He's probably going to start at left tackle. George Pickens of the Cowboys. Dylan Parham, a starting guard for the Raiders. Roger McCreary, the nickel corner for the Titans. Bernard Ryman, a starting left tackle for the Colts. Alec Pierce, who emerged as one of the starting wide receivers. Martin Emerson, Cam Taylor-Britt. I mentioned Woolen. I mentioned Bland. I mentioned Kyren. The point is, there's a lot of these guys here that you could do this with, but they wouldn't be guaranteed to get through waivers. The Rams took an opportunity here to free some cap, and while there was a risk, it was a calculated risk, knowing that Derion Kendrick is coming off a major injury. And he cleared waivers, and they signed him a week later. I don't even know if it was a full week. I like this because the Rams cornerback room is still as deep as it was. I also like this because it doesn't mean now with that money, the Rams don't have to commit to Derion Kendrick. They don't have to give him a starting job or it's a total failure. And I also like this because I understand some people are going to look at this like, oh, they signed him. This is suspicious activity. Maybe they signed him after they realized that the Jalen Ramsey trade wasn't going to go down. Now, I'm not going to say that that's impossible because it absolutely could be the case. I just don't think it is. I think it's very clear what they did here. They got out of a couple $1 million on the cap. Again, the Rams, Stan Kroenke, the second richest, organization when it comes to the NFL, most valuable anyway. They have no issue whatsoever paying players. None. But when you're abiding by a salary cap, it's a little bit different. And so the Rams felt in order for them to do what they needed to do this season, the cap that they needed, this was the best move. And so now Kendrick is back and likely on a one-year deal worth probably $1.7 million, something along those lines, whatever the minimum is. Now you save money. So I get it. It's almost like a why not? No one's going to pick up Derion Kendrick because he has the injury. And really, it's not about picking him up. It's more so no one was going to claim him because no one was going to claim his $3.4 million. That's the thing. He may have signed somewhere else, but if you felt confident and you already, you had to tell him that you were waiving him today. So when you waived him, you probably are like, but we want to bring you back if you're interested. So I think the Rams felt pretty good about it, and that's that. We'll see if he makes the roster. I would imagine he does. He's a good player, and like I was told, they really do like him. But we're gonna find out. I do like this move though, because I think these little things can go a long way. This can be the difference of fitting Jalen Ramsey into the salary cap. This could be the difference of fitting a player that you get at the deadline in the salary cap, making a big time move, picking up a guy in the middle of the season. Every little cap dollar matters. So I think it's a smart move, and I just wanted to explain it from maybe a standpoint you haven't heard before. This is the initial standpoint I had. It's why I actually agreed with cutting him earlier in the offseason. When we were doing our mock offseason, I had the Rams cutting him to save $3.4 million in cap space. I didn't bring him back, but I definitely can understand why, and I agree with the idea to bring him back. I know a lot of people aren't the biggest fan of his, but I'm telling you, he's a lot better than you realize. I'm not saying he is the greatest corner ever. I'm not calling him Deion Sanders. So I'm not calling him, anybody like that. But he is a solid corner. He can help you, and he's really good depth. And he's already started on a team. So say what you will. Derion Kendrick is back with the Rams. Let me know in the comment section below what you guys think, and let me know how I did on explaining the proven performance escalator. I thought I did a decent job, but yeah, let me know in the comment section below if I could have done that a little bit more concise. I just wanted to make sure that you guys had all the information and that you kind of thoroughly understood it, because it is a lot. I mean, that's why Kyren Williams is getting paid $5.6 million this year. Whatever it is. There you go, because he made the Pro Bowl. And now it kind of goes to show you, I actually really agree with Article 7, Section 4 of the 2020 CBA. And the reason being is I believe that, yes, players should in their last year be allowed to get a performance escalator for sure. Here's my take on this, though. You ready for this? Real quick. I don't think this should count against the team's cap. I don't. I do not believe the escalator should count against the team's cap, and here's why. Because you are rewarding players for being consistent enough to get on the field at an X amount of percentage. You're rewarding players for being Pro Bowlers. You're rewarding players for playing at least 55% of teams' offensive and defensive snaps in the first 3 seasons. What isn't fair is that the team also deserves a reward in this. A team is being penalized because you think about it, I drafted well. I got the guy in the 7th round. I stole him. Everyone else passed on him. I got this guy. And now I have to pay a premium his last year under contract. And you're telling me that I don't really get anything in return. It has to hit my cap space. That doesn't seem fair. So I feel like the NFL does this a lot. They have some good things that they do, some good ideas. You talk about the draft pick compensation, the minority draft. I like that. What I don't like is that it's only for select. So it's only for head coaches. It's only for GMs. There's no assistant coach. And also, it's just inherently flawed because you can literally be developing a minority coach for 10 years. But if he goes and becomes a defensive coordinator somewhere and then becomes a head coach after that, the team that picked him up and stole him from you to be a defensive coordinator is going to get 2 third-round picks. How is that fair? So again, similar to the point, I like the initial idea, I like the thought, but I feel like this should be carried out a little bit better. Totally understand, and I'm for the players getting, the money they earn and they deserve. If you're out there constantly, you're giving your all, you're a part of this team, and you're punching above your weight class, if you will, I'm all for it. All for PPE. What I'm not for is penalizing the teams that found these guys, developed these guys, turned them into a Pro Bowler, and now they have to spend $5-6 million on a running back that they got in the 5th round that everybody passed up because that's just the way it is. I don't agree with that. And that's why they ultimately had to make a decision like this when, in reality, I don't think that these should count against the cap. Those are my thoughts. Let me know in the comment section below what you guys think. That's going to do it for me. You guys take care. Later, folks. All right, guys. So once again, just want to let you guys know that you can check out my new side project, The Lounge. I interview athletes, musicians, actors, actresses, all the 9. So definitely check it out over on the Lounge with Jake Ellenbogen channel. Be sure to subscribe and enjoy. In case you guys haven't noticed, I do have a Discord channel for my community on this channel. And if you want to be a part of it, it is free. The link is in the description below. You can sign up. This is basically a 24/7 Rams channel, and we are almost at 1,100 members. So if you want to be a part of it, just hit the link in the description below.